Hi all, I'm Al Deldegan, the creator and producer of the LIBI podcast. This 100% volunteer-run show was born out of the Rainforest Alberta movement and features incredible people who are leaders, innovators, and have big ideas. This episode is hosted by Rea Hailley, and it is the 14th episode of her series. Today, her guest is Cindy Sim. Rea, the mic is yours.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rea Hailley, co-founder of New Idea Machine. We help startups and growing businesses increase revenue and save time with custom digital solutions such as apps, CRMs, and integrations. So you can build smarter, launch faster, and save thousands. Welcome to 5 Questions and 1 Wild Story, Fempreneurs to Watch. Today's fempreneur is Cindy. Welcome, Cindy.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me, Rea. I'm so excited to be here.
Likewise. Okay, let's dive in. Cindy, please tell us, what is it that you do and why is it important?
I am the CEO and founder of Team CarePal. Team CarePal is a platform, a mobile app. It's free for family caregivers to come together to care for their loved one. I've been a caregiver many times in my life, for my daughter who was born premature and navigating her survival at a very young age, to my mother with fibromyalgia and different knee replacements, shoulder surgeries, and then with my grandparents all at their end of life stages. And through each one of these journeys, although they were very different, I found myself burning out in levels of distress, crying between vehicles and parking lots, and just feeling so lost and unseen. So Team CarePal was actually born at the bedside of my loved ones and grew from there. Yeah, so we started with an app for families, and it really grew from there.
Amazing. I'm sure that a lot of people are in that situation at some point or another. I can only imagine how stressful it must be handling all the details that need to be considered when someone is at end of life, or when you have a preemie that you're trying to ensure survives. I can't even imagine the amount of stress that would cause, and how could you possibly think clearly and make decisions when you're under that amount of stress?
Yeah, it's a lot. And to dive into it, 1 in 4 Canadians are currently a caregiver, and that number is going up. And they do up to 90% of care in community and even up to 30-40% in facility-based care, senior care homes. And they really are the unpaid, unseen workforce behind the scenes, just holding everything together. And they're burning out, and it's really scary, especially with our aging population. Right now we have that sandwich generation where families have little ones possibly at home that they're caring for, and aging parents. We have the double duty caregivers, and these are the amazing nurses, the healthcare professionals who care during the day, and then they go home and they have a loved one that they're caring for as well. And it's just so overwhelming. And yeah, we just wanted to help.
Amazing. And so needed. What surprised you about becoming an entrepreneur? You already said that, it doesn't sound like this was a planned journey. It just happened. It was born out of need. But what surprised you the most?
Just how it took off and took shape. I had this idea. I was going to build this small little app just to manage my giant, large Dutch family. And it just took off from there. It's one of probably my biggest superpowers of being an entrepreneur. And keep in mind, I don't come from development. I don't come from healthcare. I moved to Edmonton right as the onset of the pandemic. So I was new to this city as well. I come from education. I spent decades in the school classrooms looking after children with disabilities. And so I was new to everything. And I think that ignorance was my superpower that allowed me to take the first step and start going, because I didn't really understand or fully get what I was walking into. So in that self, I just knew that caregivers needed help, and I just wanted to help them. And the surprising thing was the amount of people that got behind it, the amount of people that were impacted, and then how this grew into something really more.
Yeah, because clearly there's a need.
Yeah, and I think the next sort of thing is co-designing. Say that enough as an entrepreneur. And I think, again, being ignorant, I just wanted to learn. I wanted to understand what caregivers were using to manage caring for their people. I wanted to help them with their burnout. I wanted to understand the healthcare system. I wasn't in it, so I dove in. I wanted to understand the journey from hospital discharge to home and community, and then even into senior care homes. What does that look like? And there's so many gaps along the way. And through those conversations and being purely authentic, coming to the table allowed me to build some incredible relationships with good people doing good things that just wanted to get behind this. And from that, we developed our newest solution, which was our dashboard that we launched a year and a half ago. And it connects to the caregiver app. And it's so beautiful because we co-design programs with the hospital, working with them to understand that discharge process and how we can include families. They are so lost. I spent time in Glenrose Rehabilitation Hospital with families, and they are scared. They don't know what to do. They don't know where to go. They're just in tears. And how are we sending families home like this is not okay? And then in community where seniors are becoming isolated, caregivers are burning out because they just don't know what to do or where to go. And they don't know what they don't know. And yeah, from there, we co-designed a beautiful program for our communities that match local volunteers to family caregivers and seniors. And then our senior care homes as well. We're hitting a new generation of data and communication, and people, the new generation, want updates. They want to know that their person is doing okay. They want to be involved in that care planning. And so senior care homes are ill-equipped for this, and they're a little lost, and they're amazing. They want to help. They want to share. So we got to work with our senior care homes and build a beautiful plan that allows the senior care homes to communicate with the family. And this is all using one free app for families.
That's incredible. And it makes perfect sense that you'd be the ideal entrepreneur to launch this service because you were in it and you've gone through all these systems and you're able to experience the disconnects firsthand. And I think had anyone else tried to do what you're doing, it probably wouldn't have gone as well, and it wouldn't be so holistic, because they'd be from looking at it from the outside in versus from the inside out.
100%. You nailed it. Yes, it's truly the voices of family caregivers that, and in my experience, that really shaped this. We don't make a move. We don't add anything. We don't build anything until it comes from that lived, true, authentic experience. And they guide us through what we're doing and where we're going. And I think that was probably the most surprising thing of all as an entrepreneur is you just have to be free to allow that to happen, and you'll land somewhere really beautiful.
Yes. Now, you've had a lot on your plate. You've had a very stressful life, it sounds like. Have there been times that you wanted to quit as an entrepreneur? And if so, what has kept you going?
Yeah, and you're right to ask that question. Yes, absolutely. When I first started this journey, I knew it was going to be something that I would put my whole heart and soul into it. And so before I even took the first step, I got my husband, my lovely husband, together and our 2 adult kids. And I sat them down and I said, listen, if I do this, things are going to look a little different for my role in this family. I'm going to be working crazy hours, 6-7 days a week, sun up to sundown. And it's going to be at least 5 to 10 years before I find that work-life balance again. And they just fully supported me 100%. And I could never have taken that first step without them. And they still to this day support me 100%. My husband, honest to goodness, brings me food into my office and says, eat. And he goes to the gym with me and he's okay, you got to do this machine and this machine because I'm just so clouded. Yeah, I couldn't do it without their support. And because you're right, it's every day is a roller coaster. I go from up to down in a day, like many times. There's times yesterday too, where I'm like, what am I doing? Is this whole? Because especially with technology and healthcare and being an entrepreneur, there's so many unknowns. There's so many barriers, and the rug gets ripped out from underneath you so quickly. And then all of a sudden you have a high again. Yes, of course, there's a lot of times where I've thought about quitting. But you know what? I always land on the fact that caregivers out there right now don't get to quit. They're not getting a break. They're beyond tears. And if they're not getting a break, there's no reason I should either. So I will keep fighting for them until they get the help they deserve.
You're the champion that every caregiver needs.
I've just been there. And it's hard.
Yes, yes, it is. What are people most surprised to learn about you?
I think it's my openness to adapt, to be flexible, to bring people in. I believe wholeheartedly that we are stronger together. I don't believe in silos. They're no good. People, everyone, everywhere, whether you're in healthcare, public, private, community, it doesn't matter. We all need to link arms. We all need to work together. And I was really shocked that there's these gaps between networks, people connecting people and coming together and working together when there's so many amazing people out there. So I think that surprises people that are just so open to link arms with the next amazing human being and take them along and believe in them. There's so many people doing great things that are scared to share their voice, but it's their stories. It's what they're doing. Even in rural Alberta, I speak alongside amazing family community support service workers, and they're out in rural Alberta and they don't know what's going on in the cities or the conversations that are being had. They want to be included, but they just don't know how, or they don't have those connections. And so grabbing onto them and being, no, you're coming, you're going to come speak with me, you're going to present, you're going to share. And they're just so surprised by that. But then they're like, I don't know if I'm worthy. And I'm like, oh my goodness, honey, you are so worthy. You carry the voices of rural Alberta. You are beyond worthy. And so I think that is surprising that I not only advocate for those caregivers, but I advocate for those good people doing good things that change the lives of these families every day.
Yes, I think that's crucial. And that's one of the reasons why I started this podcast, because I thought there's these incredible entrepreneurs, and in this case, fempreneurs that I'm focusing on right now, doing incredible things, but they don't sing their own praises. Like, they don't announce what they're doing to the world for whatever reason, whether it's a feeling that they're not worthy or imposter syndrome or whatever. And I thought, okay, we need to change that. And so I intentionally started approaching entrepreneurs from all walks of life to say, okay, let's share your story. Let's tell people what you're building, because I think it's important.
I really love that. Imposter syndrome definitely runs deep. I think in every entrepreneur, it doesn't matter how much experience you get, it just lives within you and it haunts you. And we are our own worst enemies in that way. But I appreciate that you want to share stories, because as an entrepreneur, I would rather help another caregiver or work and connect and do what I do instead of being out there and spending that time sharing it, because there's so much work to be done. And it's a hard balance to find. Yeah. Thank you for what you do.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And the thing is too, that if you're not sharing what you do, then you don't give people the opportunity to help you. Because there could be someone who listens to this interview and says, you know what, I can help you, Cindy. Let's get together.
You're absolutely right. Because when I meet with amazing people, they go, oh my goodness, Cindy, that I'd known. What? I knew you were doing something. And I'm always like, oh, okay, wow. Okay, yeah, I should spend more time sharing. My goodness.
What advice would you give other female entrepreneurs?
Oh, females. Oh, we're in it, aren't we? Yeah, being a female entrepreneur, and if I can be completely raw with you on it, is really hard. You make assumptions of the barriers that you're going to be faced with, and you're usually pretty right on those assumptions. And I'm still learning new ones as I go. Things like my beautiful husband, love him, will come to events, and he's always approached before me. They think he's the one doing it all, or it's really, and I'm just like, I feed her, like she's your girl. And so I always am trying to strategize when to bring a male even into meetings so that I can be taken seriously. That's really humbling, and strategizing to making sure he's on the pitch decks, or he gets a lot of credit. And not that I mind it, because, oh my goodness, I couldn't do this without him, but I get it. It's hard to be taken serious as a female founder. Even questions we're asked are very different than questions male entrepreneurs are asked. It's like, we have to prove ourselves. And that's really hard.
Yes, it is. And thank goodness for wonderful spouses out there that are so supportive, because we really couldn't do this without them.
Oh, 100%. Like I said, my husband worries about me. Let's put it that way. What can I do? What do you need? He always says, I love watching you go through this, but it's so hard for me some days to watch you go through this. And I just wish I could help more And he's just so lovely. Yeah, you need a support team. If you're an entrepreneur, you need a support team. And even beyond that, advisors, the amount of advisors that I have brought in, and not even that, they've just jumped on board. They're like, okay, what do you need in this space? I got you in this space. So I just have so many people I can land on and be real with and cry with when those days are so high, and celebrate with in those rare moments that we do celebrate, which I find entrepreneurs have a hard time celebrating those wins. But yeah, you need a support team, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. I think with entrepreneurship, you get a win and you're like, great, let's keep going. Where's the next one? But you don't even stop to absorb.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. After the day and I debrief with my husband, he'll be like, back up. You did, this happened. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, stop. Can you just stop for a minute and just process that? And then I'm always like, oh yeah. But it'll usually hit me weeks later. And if I have a moment, I'll be like, wow, that was really cool. Like you just... As an entrepreneur, you don't have time to fully process a lot of it. You're going through it. And yeah, we're built to solve the next problem because there's always another problem. There's always something else you have to solve or do or fix or be. So we very rarely just sit in a space and be.
What do you do for mandatory self-care? Do you ever stop yourself, or do you have any checkpoints in place where you're like, whoa, okay, time for me to take a break?
Maintenance wise, I sleep. So I make sure I get 8 hours of sleep. If I don't sleep, I'm in trouble. The other one is, hitting the gym with my husband. I try for 3 days a week. I only usually get 2. And then, of course, eating healthy. My husband makes sure I eat healthy. We're fortunate we're empty nesters, right? So I can work very long hours, which I do. And I know that's not necessarily a good work-life balance, but I do hit breaking points where I'll text my husband and I'll say, I'm not peopling well today. And I know I have to put myself on timeout because I'm not being the best version of myself. So I will sneak away for an afternoon and just reset, whatever that looks like, taking a hot bath or just unchecking. This weekend, I'm so fortunate I get to go to a girlfriend's house near the mountains in a far off cabin where I'm going to completely disconnect. It's very rare for me to do that. So I'm really looking forward to it. But you really have to be in tune with your own personal mental and physical health and make sure that you're managing it, because I do play a fine line with burnout.
Yeah, so do I. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs do.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're at that part where we get to hear your one wild story. It can be personal, it can be work related. What's your story?
A wild story?
Yes.
Oh, you think I'm more interesting than what I am?
Everyone is interesting. Everyone has a wild story or a fun story. Like one of those stories where you're like, I can't believe this actually happened.
Okay, completely off, nothing to do with work. I always like to try new things. And the kids, we have such a really close relationship with me, my husband, and my kids. And I decided to start learning to snowboard. I was always a skier. My kids were snowboarders. My husband was a snowboarder. So I thought I would do this awesome snowboarding adventure. And I was going up a tow rope in a small hill. And these tow ropes are challenging because you just have to grab onto them and they drag you up the hill. At the top of the hill, there was all the mechanics and plugs and everything that made this tow rope run. And it was the only way to get up the ski hill. And so I tried many times to try to hold on to this thing, and I would fall off and I would just let people pass. And I persevered. And it was really hard, but I did it. I held on to it and I got to the top of the hill. And then I never really thought about the end, like what to do when you got at the top and how you're supposed to let go. So it flung me into the whole mechanics, the building that like operated everything. And I was like this, arms flailing, unplugging everything and completely shut down the entire thing. So there you go. It's
Were you okay? Did you get injured?
I was fine. I was so embarrassed. And then I had to undo my boots, which I didn't really know how to get. And I just crawled my way to the lodge, which wasn't near away. And people started walking up the hill slowly, making their way up there along with my kids and husband. And I just wanted to cry. And I was like, oh my gosh, you have no idea what I just did. Oh, yeah. It's you prepare for that beginning, you plan it out, but you really have to make sure you have an exit strategy.
No kidding. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Thank you for sharing that fun, wild story. embarrassing. I would have been mortified as well. I have my own mortifying skiing stories. I don't ski anymore for those reasons, but that's a story for another day. Thank you. Thank you so much, Cindy, for allowing us to get to know you.
Yeah.
This was a pleasure. And to our listeners, if you're a fempreneur and you'd like to be a guest on the podcast, please reach out. I'd love to speak to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Rea.
I hope you enjoyed the show. Why not become a podcast host yourself? LIBI is a community podcast, and we would love to have your voice as a host or a guest. Check out show.libi.ca for more information, show notes, and links for every episode.
This episode is brought to you by New Idea Machine, a unique blend of a tech incubator and a software development powerhouse. We're not just building software, we're crafting the next generation of homegrown tech wizards. Got a project in mind or looking to hire fresh talent? Reach out and let's make tech magic happen. Visit newideamachine.com for more info.
Music for the show was created by Tony Del Deegan.